At first I was going to kind of make up a position so we could really just mock through the interview, but then I thought, well, no, I'd really like to have an exploratory, with Bethany, representing DeVries and even potentially looking at your skills as something that could fit here. So, one of the things that I think is really impressive about your experience is the fact that you have already done hands-on work in social media, you've done hands-on work in not-for-profit, which are two really hot areas, obviously, that a lot of agencies are focused on. And I would just love to see even more concrete examples, I think, of your social media insight. So, like when I asked the question about, what was my question? I think I asked you if there was a specific example of a not-for-profit using social media well. And it looked like that question was a little tricky because you didn't have one. So that might be a place just to think about, give that a little bit more thought so you can, come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you referenced the Chris Brogan post, which was fine, but I think I would want to, I'd want your insight. I'd want your take on what other people are doing tangibly. So that was just one piece of feedback I wanted to give you. The other thing I might want to mention, because I think I had also asked you, what assets or what skills do you have? What would you bring to an agency? And the first thing you said, I don't know if you said it, if you're aware of it, but the first thing you said was that you like to have fun, which is great. I might not have that be the first thing you say, because somebody could perceive you as, oh, she just, is she serious? Is she really focused? By the way, having fun is awesome, and I think that's important, and I like to work with people who like to have fun, because otherwise it's tedious. So I think it's great, but like the first thing you could have said is, well, for one thing, I'm interested in working in social media, and I'm personally really entrenched in social media, so I've been living it for X number of months, or, I'm blogging already. I'm active on Twitter already. So there's a way you can merchandise what you're doing personally as an asset that you could bring to an organization.
Okay.
And then you can get to the fun part later.
Thank you.
So one thing, so I just wanted to, while it was fresh in my mind, I wanted to give you that feedback. The other thing I think is really terrific is that when I asked you the question about traditional PR, you were instantly able to tell me that at the Kidney Foundation, you had in fact done some traditional media outreach with the magazines and newspapers, and that you even had gotten, you'd gotten the penny pincher results, which is great. So I think that specifics like that are great. And also, one of the things that I always look for in people, whether they're just out of school or if they've been around for a while, is that they really can straddle both traditional PR and social media. Because I think you know this because you're out there on Twitter and you see there are a lot of social media experts, right? And it's kind of like anybody, frankly, can call themselves a social media expert, but not everybody can say, I am a trained PR professional who generates traditional PR results as well as social media. So just, you might want to think about that too, because you've got that. It looks like you've got the background of that. I don't think so. I think, is this enough? Is that good? Thank you very much. I think you've got, I haven't even seen like a formal resume, but just talking to you and seeing the write-up, the sort of your cover letter information, I think you've got a lot going for you. And I would just work on just honing your, think of, if there were 3 assets you would bring to a new place, really hone those, okay?
Okay.
And I would have them be skill set focused first and personality second. Because your personality, you're fun, you're open to everything, you're learning, that's going to come through in your interview. You don't have to say that. You can just be that and demonstrate that. Get the skill sets communicated first.
Okay, great.
Okay?
Thank you for all the tips.
Oh, sure. No problem, and good luck to you.
I do have a question for you, though.
Oh, yeah, please. Forgot about that part. Ask away. Absolutely.
How did you get involved with PR? I love knowing how people who love their job, what made them get involved.
The short answer to that is that I actually kind of fell into it by accident. I studied something else at school. I was an art history major. I was going to be a professor. Yeah, totally unrelated. And long story short, I ended up taking a break from my studies. I was going to get a doctorate, but I wanted to take a year off because I was a little burned out. And during that year, I just needed a job. So I was in the city, and I got a job as an assistant working for the Donna Karan Company. And I was actually one of Donna Karan's personal assistants, which was crazy. But what I was able to do from the vantage point of her office, because she was the head of the company, was observe all the different departments. So I saw what the designers were doing, what the marketers were doing, the merchandisers and the PR people, and I started to get really intrigued by PR. So after 7 years or so, I was able to, over the course of those 7 years, kind of work my way into a PR path. and started out on the client side there doing PR for the beauty division, so cosmetics and fragrance, and loved it. I just loved it. I loved working around the media. I loved getting to write. I loved working with beautiful things. Beauty is a great category. And basically went from there to DeVries, which was, I never thought I'd be in an agency, but I happened to know Madeline DeVries, the founder, and I respected her and kind of never looked back. I left here for a little bit to work at L'Oreal for 3 years, but then I came back to DeVries because I really missed agency life. So I didn't set out to do this, but once I got into it, I found that a lot of the skills that I really loved as somebody in academia, I could use. The communication skills, the writing skills, the presentation skills, the analytical ability, that all, that comes into play in PR too. So that's the short version. There's a long version, but I don't want to take up all your time.
That's a great story. It's so fun.
Yeah, it is fun. And working for Donna was great, and it gave me such a great vantage point just to the world of fashion and being in New York and being at the epicenter of kind of the style capital of the country. And that never really left me, although now I've broadened to all kinds of consumer categories. But I think at heart I'm still a beauty specialist, but it really was a very good experience, and I do love agency life. I'm glad I got back to agency. So, and I think people figure out at some point they're either agency people or they're not. So you may find that you're destined for an agency. It's very different because you really do need to be able to multitask in a different way, and as you get more senior, you are responsible for building your business. You're not just doing the work, you're actually having to run a practice area or run a division where you're having to be profitable as well as doing good PR. So it's a it's a business mindset as well as a PR practitioner mindset. So
cool.
That may all be in your future.
I hope so.
Do you have any other questions?
I briefly looked when I got the email from Jess about the company that you work for.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. I love how there's actual PR firms that are specific to... I didn't realize that there was all the beauty and stuff for a PR firm. And just how do you like working things that's... Because the agency I worked at has clients all over the place. They have telecommunications, and they have food places. How do you like working for an agency that's pinpointed down to a specific type of client?
Well, I like it a lot. I mean, even though our DNA is in beauty, we are now a general consumer agency, but we do say very clearly that we only do consumer PR. So we don't do tech, we don't do lobbying, we don't do government relations or crisis communication, and I like that. I think that we're not that big. We're mid-sized, we're about 100 people or so. So quite frankly, I think at our size, to be specialized in one area of public relations, it makes sense. And we've been lucky to have really, really amazing consumer packaged goods clients, like a lot of Procter & Gamble brands, Pepperidge Farm, some of the best marketers in the world, really. So we learn from them. We get to be deeply immersed in the world of the consumer. And we are consumers. That's the other thing, too, is, a lot of our clients are marketing to moms. I'm a mom, so, it's very easy for me to get inside the head of the consumer segment that our clients are trying to talk to.